Hi guys, welcome to my video. If you have any interest in joining Chamberlain College of Nursing, I'm going to break it down to you on what you can expect and how to go about it in the most simplest way as possible. So this will base your decision on if you want to go here, if you don't want to go there, or what you want to do. A little bit about myself is that I went to Chamberlain for my undergrad for about 3 years, and then now I'm in the NP program. So if you want me to do a separate video on that, on how to go about it, just let me know. So first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the cost. Average cost after financial aid is 31 grand, and that's per year. That's not even for the entire program. That brings it down to about $250 per credit hour. Now if you're a veteran, it's going to cost you $200 per credit hour, but the cost is crazy. And then just for an FYI, if you wanted to go NP later on in your career, it's actually $735 per credit hour. It's insane. And then next we're going to talk about the acceptance rate. So it has a 90% acceptance rate, just the entire program, the undergraduate and NP. It's easy to get into. It actually saved me the strain of having to wait once or twice a year in a community college to get accepted. Chamberlain has about 8 different cycles, so 8 times per year they accept students. I got a pretty low HESI score. I had probably about a 70 HESI score, and I had about a 3.5 GPA, and I got in right away. But acceptance is not an issue at all. And it takes about 3 years to graduate from the program. Next is me classes. So classes, you'll take those full-time is considered 2 classes at a time, or equals 6 credits. Not everything is going to transfer though, so I only had probably roughly about 30 to 40 credits transferred, and then the rest I had to take during my first year. So that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. Next is going to be difficulty. So it depends on your study habits. It can either be really hard or not that difficult, but your traditional classes are going to be anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks, and at Chamberlain, the classes are broken down to 8 weeks apiece. So at your 4-week marker, it's going to be your midterm, and then week 8 is going to be your final exam. So you're always going to have to be studying, you're always got to be on top of it, and that doesn't even include clinical, any kind of checkoffs you have coming in, or any of the in-between BS that happens in your life. So that kind of sucked, but I would probably rate it probably a 4 out of 5 difficulty level. That was just based on my opinion. It was pretty difficult, it was pretty challenging, and I'm somebody that has to study a lot for me to actually grasp the material. So next to me, clinicals. You don't normally start clinicals until you hit fundamentals, and that'll be the beginning of year number 2. So that's gonna be before the beginning of your second year. You'll typically go to usually like a nursing home or things like that, and you'll meet with a professor and whatnot. Usually be about 1 8-hour day. So it's not too bad, but clinicals are usually about 1 8-hour day, and then once we hit Med-Surg 1, it'll start picking up 2 8-hour days per week, on top of being in person for 2 days a week as well. So really 4 days out of the week you are dedicated gold, and they're really not that bad. One of the benefits of the clinical, I guess, is that you can actually switch with somebody if you want to. So when I was doing my undergrad, I would be placed somewhere about 30 miles away from my home, and that was insane to me. So I decided, I actually asked a couple of students, hey, would you switch with me? And it was beneficial for some students, and we would just switch, and all you have to do is just give them a heads up. There's a whole clinical team through Chamberlain, and you just give them a heads up, and they make this transfer happen as long as it's obviously okay on both sides. But other than clinical really isn't too bad, it's just, you just gotta do it. Next will be recommendations. So some of the things they'll break down is I would highly advise on doubling up on your prereqs. So I wish I could have probably done 2 or 3 at a time, just to knock them out sooner. The sooner you do it, the less load that you'll have going into your harder classes. So when you take Med-Surg 1, you'll take that with nutrition. When you take Med-Surg 2, it's only taken on its own, but there's a lot of material. And then during your 3rd year toward capstone, you'll actually take capstone with history. So it's just a lot. So I would highly advise doubling up on those if you can. Once when you hit Med-Surg, I would drop down the part-time or contingent. I actually went contingent when I hit Med-Surg, and it was just a lifesaver because I was able to focus so much on school and do what I needed to do to graduate. So plus those tests are really difficult. Let's see, your hardest class, in my opinion, is going to be fundamentals because of all the checkoffs you have to do and just being exposed to how to operate as a nurse or how to think like a nurse. I've kind of found that those that had prior medical experience actually had a more difficult time compared came in, I was working as a tech in the E, and I actually had a really difficult time with fundamentals because this is how I was doing things. So the next hardest class would be farm. Obviously, I actually failed farm, so I had to retake it. But when you take pharmacology, get in the groups, become familiar with mingling and making friends and stuff. And then there's an app called Picmonic, really super useful. It is subscription, but they break down on medications and things like that and into simple terms in ways you can understand it. So I would do that. And then Capstone was a pain in the ass. So you take 180 question exam toward the end, and that'll be is known as your exit exam. So you only have, when I went through it, I only had 3 tries to do it, and it was rough. I failed the first 2, finally got past the third, but there was just so much preparation to it. But the good part about it was that I was in and out of my boards. When I went in and did my thing, I came right back out in 45 minutes. It was either A, I failed this thing, or B, it was really super easy. And then lastly is ATI. So ATI is basically, it's a different format that the school uses. Cliff notes broken down into a book, it's really just simple term stuff. It's just what your school tests on. It's what the school tests on is ATI. Some people really love it because it breaks it down really easy. Other people hate it. I burned my books when I graduated. I didn't want anything to do with them because I hated it so much. But become familiar with those. Try to get your hands on some books and stuff before you start, because the sooner you get ahead of it, the better off you're going to be. But if you have any other questions, you want me to break down the NP program, how to go about it, just let me know. I'll tell you how to break down how to chart for your clinicals and where to start from all that. But let me know. Thanks.